Welcome to the channel. My name is Carlos, and if you're new here, we're trying to get back into playing with some paint. Sorry. Okay, so within the last few hours, crazy stuff went on, but within that crazy stuff, I had a few moments in time to, go through social media and whatnot, and I went to some of the, the porn pages that we're all on, and I saw several questions. Obviously, there's a lot of people that are entering this hobby, I guess, and they want answers. With that being said, I am not saying I know more than anybody else. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, I know probably the least of anybody. But what I know works, and if you're able to take that, use it and make it your own, right? So, with that being said, the question that I saw on actually about 3-4 of the pages. I'm on so many pages, it's not even funny. But a lot of it had to do with cells. A lot of people were asking about silicone, what type of silicone to use, blah, 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 blah. I get it. I use silicone too. You do get results. It just depends on how you work it. But it's not needed. Well, let me rephrase that. Depending on the pour that you're trying to do, it's not really needed. If it's just some simple little, piece like you see, all these people doing right now with the little blooming technique, whatever, cool. That's great. I ain't gonna lie, those things look really, really cool. And when, what's her name, Shelly Art or whatever her name was, when she first started doing this, I got psyched about it too. I went out and bought all that extra polyurethane, base paint, all that crap. Tried it once, got fed up with it, decided this is stupid. It's dumb. It's a lot of money. And on top of that, you're dealing with chemicals. Like, there's a reason why they have warning labels in the back of these. There's a reason why they say to use respirators and gloves and whatnot. So it's dangerous stuff. Now, with that being said, obviously you can take precautions and everything turns out fine. I just chose to go a different direction. So, blah blah blah. Super long story. I am going to make a piece. I'm going to, how do you say? I'm not teaching anybody anything. I'm just going to show you what I know and how I do it. And hopefully, maybe if you can adapt it or whatever and make it your own, by all means, go for it. I mean, it's just something pretty to look at, obviously. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. So, just to kind of, I got paint and glue on this table or whatever, but just to kind of make it a clear cleanup, I am going to put a piece of parchment paper just as a protector. Normally I'd lay down like a piece of plastic or something, but I figured this is just going to be a small example, and I'm sure that's pretty loud, seeing that the microphone's right there. So I'm going to put it up here. FYI, I'm going to be using the ready mix paints. There's a little bit of yellow left in there. Here's some of that dark yellow, some blue, a little bit left in there, some funky green, and a little bit of red. And the piece that I'm going to be working on, I have here a 10 by 10 piece of Corian. For those of you that are new to the channel, I'm just going to call them tiles. I know you probably could find these maybe at a local hardware store. I'm not sure if they sell them by the pieces. I get scrap pieces from work. Oh, crap. These things are pretty awesome, especially for what we're doing. So that's the piece that we're going to use to work on, but first we're going to mix the paint. So I'm going to grab this whole thing, set it to the side, pretty much right there. So now the question is, how do you get cells using Floetrol? Alright, so for what's worked for me is a ratio, and I'm going to be using, these are going to be by volume, not by weight. So I'm going to be using these little cups. I believe they are like these little 3-ounce Dixie cups. Obviously I'm not going to fill them to the rim, but I'm going to fill them up pretty much. So it's going to be one of these of paint, another 2 of Floetrol, and then half of one of these of a little bit of water. Probably won't even use it all, but just to kind of work that consistency down a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour all this stuff out. Obviously, and edit, I will cut this all out so it makes it a little bit faster. So I'm gonna go ahead with the paint and take my bottle, my dusty bottle since I haven't poured in forever. So it's the Artist Loft Flow Acrylic. I'm going to use a cup of this, a little Dixie cup of this stuff. Just kind of squeeze it out. So obviously for the piece that I'm going to be doing, this is probably going to be enough to do 10 of these. So, but I'm going to be saving some of this for future pours. So now, with that being said, I'm going to set the paint off to the side. I'm going to get me 2 cups, and then obviously the cup to put all of this in. So I'm just going to use the cups that I have my sticks in. We're going to dump it all into there. Okay, so Floetrol, everybody's best friend. All right, got the little piece of penny holes to filter it out. We're just going to, well, first of all, shake it up since it's been sitting for a little while. Good enough. All right. Pop this sucker open. So obviously I'm not going to waste 2 cups. I'm just going to refill this one and pour it in there. Hopefully we are still in the view of the camera. Just going to go ahead and put that down because I'm going to give this a nice little squeeze. Don't squeeze the charmin. Alright. Put that last little drop in there. I'm going to pour that into the cup. And I just dropped a whole little cup in there. Funny. Ladies and gentlemen, how is the quarantine going for you guys? I know this is some horrible times, but ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are using common sense. I hope you guys are being safe out there. And hopefully we will get through this with as minimal, and I use that term very loosely, seeing that it is a pandemic and we've already lost a lot of people. But anyways, that's some sad stuff. We're just going to go ahead and come back to playing with some paint. So now I got my 2 cups of Floetrol. I'm just going to set this off right there. There we go. So I got my 2 little Dixie cups of Floetrol. I'm going to grab a stick. I'm going to grab my paint. I'm going to dump the whole cup of paint in there. Come on, paint. Please forgive the rain and the thunder. I called, but they said they can't stop the weather. So I was like, alright, fine. I just have to deal with it. Alright, so we got all the paint out. So now before we add the water, I'm going to go ahead and give this a nice little mixing. But before we do all that, move some of this stuff out of the way. Alright. Just going to spin. Obviously you guys know what mixing is, so I'm going to go ahead and just cut all this part out. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to now fill this little cup halfway up with water. This is the same cup I used that Floetrol in. It's going to use about halfway up. Probably won't even need it all, but we're going to then slowly add it as we're keeping an eye on the consistency. Now, you know, you guys already know you're looking for a certain kind of consistency. I know people have said warm honey, melted butter, blah, blah, blah. Just as long as it's not as thick as toothpaste, we're good. So, nope, it's going to need a little bit more water. Just continue adding little by little. On this part, you're going to have to eyeball it. Simply because temperature, humidity, and whatnot can alter it. Well, that's pretty good right there. So we barely ended up using half of the stuff that we put in there. So we're going to go ahead and say it was a 1/4 cup. But now, I got to do something with this cup. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, same as before. Let's see if this little light will turn on. Alright, so not sure what angle we're looking at, but it leaves the slightest amount and then within a second or two disappears. To me, this is the consistency that'll work if you want to achieve those little funky sails and lacings. But anyways, so just a quick overview, seeing that I know a lot of you kind of like to skip through videos. 2 of these of Floetrol, 1 of paint, and this time around I only ended up using about a 1/4 cup of water. So now, with that being said, I'm gonna move all this stuff out of the way. Bring this back over here. Make sure you guys are still in frame. Perfecto. I like it. Let's move the Floetrol out the way. Excuse me a second. Alright, so we got our piece that we're going to pour on. We have our swipe paints. And we have our colored paints. So obviously we should be wearing gloves. And I just went through saying all this stuff about chemicals and being careful and whatnot. So obviously don't do what I do. Don't do what I say. Be smart. You're grown-ups. You know what to do. So anyways, I am going to go ahead and... So I'm going to minimize the amount of green that I use simply because I know the blue and the yellow will make a little bit of the green. But with that being said, I am going to start with the green. And we are just going to... We're just going to make a mess. Just like that. Not too much. I'm going to go on, move on to some of this big... No, not big. Dark yellow. I'm going to go ahead and just pour some of that. Try to get some of these in between spaces to kind of fill in the gaps. Although, once we start tilting, that should take care of a bunch of that. I'm going to go ahead and go across. Now as it is, I'm already feeling like I'm using a lot of paint, but it's okay. So we're going to use some of this light yellow. I'm going to do this, try to avoid the other yellow. Just so there is a slight difference in brightness and colors. And then obviously to finish it all off, some of the blue. Now these bottles have been shut for months and months and months. Come on, blue. Be cool. Blue. There we go. See? Always need a good shank. You never know when you gotta use it. So, got our blue. Gonna go ahead and pour some of this out. If there's any left in there. Hello. Hello, blue. So, you know, we're going to go different. We're going to go side to side on this one. And we're just going to let it be funky like that. Maybe even the little drips. They weren't intentional, but it looks kind of cool. Alright, so now we have our colors down. We have our swipe color here. I'm thinking for ease, for me, I'm going to swipe from the top, which is for me the top, down this way. So first of all, we are going to go ahead and, well, I'm going to turn this sideways and then turn this the long way because I already know there's going to be a mess. That's too funny. That is too funny. Alright. So FYI, we're going to take a quick pause. If you are watching this right now, comment LOL in the comment section simply because I forgot to plug the microphone back in. It's too funny. Oh well, whatever. It is what it is. Let's go. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and lay down my swipe paint there. I'm going to swipe this way down. So we're just going to go ahead and rock and roll. Ooh, again, that's a lot of paint. Alright, got Mr. Shank on hand. We are ready to rock and roll. So now the trick to this swipe, at least what I found, is you want to glide over the surface without applying hardly any pressure at all. You basically want to spread your swipe color over the other colors and allowing its bonding, I guess, to break down and form all these little cells and whatnot. With that being said, this knife is not as long as this, so I'm going to do it in a couple swipes. Hopefully it comes out cool, but if not, hey, whatever. So here we go. Again, I'm going to have to squat down. Oh, there went the little cups. You want to hold this knife, I don't know what angle exactly, but I'm just going to go ahead and call it a 45-degree angle. But you don't want it to be too flat and you don't want it to be on an edge. Again, I've only done what works for me. Actually, that's not true. I've done a bunch of things. A lot of them didn't work for me. So anyways, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, squat down, get in the paint, and slide it over. See right there, I went too hard. So right, so we are going to now, I'm going to slide this whole thing over this way. because I'm not left-handed. This is gonna be fun. All right, here we go. Little blue paint, little yellow paint, move. All right, so let me know. Did we get any sales? I think we did, but obviously we have a lot of areas that still have a lot of paint. There's a big old mountain of paint right here, and then obviously no paint on these edges. So now we get funky and we start tilting. Again, should have worn gloves, but I'm stupid like that. So first, I'm gonna try to cover this edge, then I'm gonna go for this edge, then I'm gonna see if I can't get rid of some of that. Okay, so this mound of paint right here is the heaviest, so that's the part that's going to want to move the fastest as well. So we're going to just rock it back and forth. Just try to see if we can't get it closer to an edge. Oh, you know what? Screw it. Let's go. Ooh, not on the table, fool. Orale. Here we go. So now we're going to take this part, we're going to, without making a mess, spin it around. And we're going to tilt back down this way. Although, this is why we wear gloves, ladies and gentlemen. Because it drips. But anyways, you guys already know this. So, we're going to go ahead and rock side to side. On this one, I want to get that last little edge. Come on. Be good. Be good. There we go. So now we're going to go ahead and force it all down to capture this corner down here. Or not. You're killing me, Smalls. Come on. There we go. See? Sometimes you just got to add a little, give it a little bit of help. So now what we do, trying to keep this all centered, I'm going to try to bring some of this back and stretch out some of these little cells. Okay. Not digging how this is coming out, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't just straighten down, tilt a lot of that off. And it worked. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take these two little cups back out here. Put one there. Put one there. And use it as a stand. Oh, that sucks. Alright, again, this is why we wear gloves. I'm going to try to keep a steady hand, ladies and gentlemen. But here we have some spillage. This is the stuff that got swiped off. I mean, even it's got a couple cool little sails. A lot of the blue came off. I'm kind of disappointed in that. I like the blue. But anyways, so here we have our just Floetrol mix. I forgot. 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint, and a 1/4 part water, if that makes any sense. And then trying to keep my hand as steady as I can. So obviously I had a few issues with some of the yellow not wanting to move, which stretched out and blended a bunch of other colors. But it's alright though, because it gives you a bunch of different shades of stuff to look at. So we got itty bitty little sails and lacing all around. Got a plethora of what do they call it? That bird? The bird, the embassy bird, the peacock. There we go. It's like a peacock feather, kinda. Maybe? No? I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing. And obviously, if you liked it, give it a like. And yeah, hopefully we can get back into the groove of things and come up with some funky stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, stay safe out there. Be smart. Wash your hands. Stay away from crazy people. And I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.
Hey, my name is Mr. Woochies. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and share with a friend.